Hello, welcome back. The lifespan of terrorists is not the longest. It's like that of mayflies. To think of the future was to proclaim fortune-telling.
Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings.
They die or you die, nothing more.
But they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve.
It's like that of mayflies. To think of the future was to proclaim fortune-telling.
Hi, babe.
But they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. But they cannot dent the steel of American resolve.
Chapter 5 begins with that kind of intro. The author tells us that the epidemic of gunfire, as far as the STM, that is the Shrine Tango movement, was concerned, was indeed an event that created no choices of retreat. In short, I'll reiterate, the author says that the spectacle attracted mayhem in retaliation and that surviving one more day was the greatest struggle, of course. Welcome to my channel. My name is Victor, the author of the File Soldier series of novels. According to research, the mean longevity for an American terrorist, for example, has been found to be 32.4 months. But interestingly, when using the median as an indicator, the average longevity of an individual terrorist drops to 15.86 months. A figure very consistent with the estimated average lifespan of terrorist groups identified in many other research projects. Now, the mayflies are aquatic insects belonging to the order Epimetheroptera. This order is part of an ancient group of insects termed the Paleoptera, which also includes the dragonflies and the damselflies. According to the famous Swedish naturalist Carl Linnaeus, the father of taxonomy, the mayfly belongs to the Animalia kingdom, of course, phylum Arthropoda and class Insecta. Now let me tell you a little more than you can imagine, and I will start with a question that I will undertake to answer. Why would this fly be called the Canadian soldier on northwest parts of Ohio? It's simply because they come across a lake called ERIE in huge swarms, like some kind of invading soldiers from the north. The swarms are so quick that driving can become hazardous because they cover the pavement and make it quite slippery. Mayflies have ancestral traits that were probably present in the first flying insects. Their immature stages are aquatic freshwater forms called nymphs, whose presence indicate a clean, unpolluted, and highly oxygenated environment. Mayflies hatch, that is, emerge as adults from spring to autumn. Like terrorists who may live very long in indoctrination camps, being prepared for missions, the nymphs or immature mayflies may live for several years in water, in contrast to their short lives as adults. As such, the author, who is myself of course, described the life of a mature terrorist, who I assume to mean a well-indoctrinated and ready for deployment, as being equivalent to that of an adult mayfly. In fact, George Crabbe, an English poet who doubled as a surgeon and clergyman in 1785, compared the brief life of a daily newspaper with that of a mayfly in his satirical poem, The Newspaper. The mayflies have an incredible short lifespan. After the larval stage, female mayflies usually live less than 5 minutes, while males can live a whopping 2 days. But like terrorists who plan and execute terror attacks with the highest precision possible, they don't waste a single minute, spending that short period of time mating and reproducing. Now, the Shrine Tango movement, as we have seen, is a terror group with an agenda. A 5 million reward has been placed to solve the so-called X-Files secret chain. What this chain means to the existence of humanity, only time will tell. Stick around and enjoy the events as they unfold.
I got an aircraft 6 miles east of the White House. Crystal City, just north of Crystal City. Just to the north of your town? Yeah, stop all departures.
Allow me to proceed from where I left in episode number 30. The ingenious speculation stiffened, but I had attained full control of the nerve essential to a refined STM militant. Not a word he said escaped my ears. Our interpretation of the character of the sniper's weapon was accurate. It was precise. The attack window is open, said Jake, with the intensity of a 9-year-old whiz kid. Let's take him out. 20 minutes tops. I engaged my feet on the splatter of shredded glass on the floor, then took along the semicircular corridor into the kitchen and headed for the cutlery drawers. There I searched and grabbed one stainless steel knife. I surveyed it. It was razor sharp. My fingers walked along its edge with a delicious sense of cleaning it up. Is repositioning, Miles shouted. I was already paying the price of my association with these men. That had no fund of merriment. Jake tapped and brushed his gun over his cheek in weird, seductive strokes. It's a bluff, he said. I'd seen what they needed me to see, experienced what they needed me to experience. They knew I would take a life to avenge another. What they weren't aware of was I had changed. I would shoot a gun so they would think I dodged one. As Dawson Miles bore the opportunity of amusing us with a finer description of the sniper's rifle, I saw the scope glint reposition. But Dawson's description wasn't enough to stop me from tearing through the cutlery in search of another knife. Instead, in the ensuing interval of silence, it emboldened me. As luck would have it, a period of fidgeting got me one of the same size. It had been driven deep into a chunk of flesh, as though by some wild and angry hand. Same blade, same steel. Under a damp kitchen cloth, I paired the two. I tied them down and slid them bundle into the right inner side pocket of my coat. I stormed out, gun in hand. Making into the lobby, the scope glint struck me on my collarbone. Miles, get down. Miles took a dive onto the floor. Then he fired twice. Instinctively, I darted under the table and turned it over, edge upon the floor. That shielded me. Miles! John! That psycho, I yelled. How many rounds do you have left? Not sure, replied Miles, stealing looks at his gun. 8 rounds, 12 I guess. Not good, cover me. I'll scale down the wall. John, that's suicide. This sociopath is a refined marksman. It's a deadly attempt, I agree, I said, but I'll pursue him. You tail me and bring me up to speed with new intel. Meanwhile, I'll get the crap kicked out of that nutcase. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with the attack window against the sniper shooter open, I come to the end of my today's episode. Goodbye.